Go through that process, we grab samples, and then the protocol calls for these 5 tests right here. Burst is a strength test. Show you that in a second. Slide angle is a costatic friction test. Short span compression, water drop, and appearance and stickies. Then we make hand sheets. We make 2-gram hand sheets for the stickies testing, 3-gram hand sheets for the testing. That's just a picture of a hand sheet if you don't know what a hand sheet is. This is it's a picture of a hand sheet with a burst that had been burst test. What we found every time we test Starbucks cups, burst strength goes up, and that's a very good thing. So it went up over 10% with a pre-consumer, and again it went up over 10% with a post-consumer. This is actually a picture of the control stickies. What we do is we take the hand sheet, put it between 2 pieces of white blotter paper. You press it at, it's high pressure, I forget the pressure, it's 350 degrees for 5 minutes, pull it apart. And if there's a sticky in there that would come out in the paper machine, it'll grab onto the white fiber of the blotter paper, and that's what those little white specks are. And so those are stickies. It's just a water drip and a slide angle. Every time we've tested these water or Starbucks cups, we've had, every time it's passed both these tests. There was no significant, increases, but there was definitely no decreases in performance from the control of 100% OCC versus 80% OCC and 20% cups. So we said, what happens if we take this fiber and take it to the paper machine? Because people said, well, you're making hand sheets out of this. That's not like going to a paper machine. Well, it's, the FBA and the FPA said, yeah, it is on the wax alternatives, but we're still, if you do ring crush. So we were limited on the amount of fiber we had, but we made a 33-pound liner sheet. We put some starch in AKD, internal sizing, in the wet end, and then we put a little bit of starch on it on the size press. So this is the wet end, the forming section. Comes out of the head box. It basically ends up starting to be a dewatering process down to the other end. This is where it's coming off the end of the Ford near, going into the wet presses. This is going through the dryer section. This is going through the pound size press, putting the surface sizing on it. This is where it's being rolled up at the other end, and that's actually, we just were finishing up right there. That small roll was as much as we could make, so we didn't have time to optimize it or run. These guys have taken samples. And this is what we came up with, actually, right here. This sheet of, this 33-pound sheet right here is made up of 20% post-consumer Starbucks cups. The data in the white is data I got from my friends at Interstate, and I believe it's pretty much industry standards. But if you go through it and look at the numbers and the targets, there's increases in strength. Ring crush was just fine. Porosity was good. Like I say, we didn't have time to optimize it, so with a quick run we took, I would be very confident, say post-consumer cups are not going to, we're not going to see anything negative in the OCC stream. Thank you. Any questions?